Have you ever heard a story about a friendly game that went really, really wrong? Well, get ready because we are diving into an awesome story from ancient India. It comes from a book called the Bhagavata Purana, and it's got everything. Powerful families, a giant wedding feast, and a dice game that turns absolutely deadly.
So, as we get into this story, here's a little puzzle to keep in your mind. Can people who are total enemies, who really don't like each other, ever actually become a real family? Let's find out.
All right, every great story has a big conflict, right? Well, this one starts with a major family feud. On one side, you have the amazing Lord Krishna, and on the other, you've got this super proud prince named Rukmi. And let me tell you, these two were not friends.
So, why the bad blood? Well, a while back, Krishna totally defeated Rukmi in a big battle. And Rukmi was so mad and embarrassed about it that he held a massive grudge. He just could not let it go and was always waiting for a chance to get even.
But then, something happens that nobody saw coming. A wedding. And you know how weddings are, right? They're supposed to bring everyone together. But when the families are enemies, well, that's when things get pretty awkward.
Okay, you gotta see this family tree. It's a little wild. So Krishna is married to a queen named Rukmini. But wait for it, Rukmini is actually Prince Rukmi's sister. And now their grandkids are getting married to each other. Can you imagine the tension at that party? Oh, and see that last name there? Balarama? He's Krishna's super strong older brother. You're gonna wanna remember him. He's a big deal in this story.
So you're probably wondering, why in the world would Rukmi say yes to this wedding? He can't stand Krishna. Well, the answer is simple. He loved his sister, Rukmini, and he wanted to make her happy. The story uses a really cool Sanskrit word for sister, swasu. He did it for his swasu.
And check out this amazing, super long Sanskrit word the story uses, Sneha Pasha Anubandhana. Isn't that incredible? It means he was bound by the ropes of affection. It's like his love for his sister was a real rope, pulling him into saying yes, even when every other part of him wanted to say no way.
So picture this. Everyone's at the wedding. Things are going okay. But some of the other kings there, they were troublemakers. They started whispering to Rukmi, kind of daring him, "Hey, you should challenge Balarama to a friendly game of dice." Yeah, friendly. We'll see about that.
And this, my friends, is where it all starts to go wrong.
Have you ever played a game with your family, maybe a board game or something, and it starts out fun, but then all of a sudden it gets super competitive and nobody's laughing anymore?
Well, that is exactly what's about to happen here. So they start to play. First bet, 100 gold coins. And Rukmi wins. Then they up it to 1,000 coins. Rukmi wins again. He's feeling pretty good. So they go for 10,000 gold coins, and you're not going to believe it. Rukmi wins a third time. He is absolutely on fire.
Now, as Balarama keeps losing, this other king, the king of Kalinga, just starts laughing his head off. The word for it is prahasit, like a big, loud laugh, showing all his teeth, just to make fun of Balarama. And Balarama sees this, and he is not happy about it. Not one bit.
So things are getting really tense now. They decide to make one last gigantic bet. This time, for 100,000 gold coins. Whoa, that is a ton of money. This is officially a high-stakes game. They play the round, and Balarama wins. He finally won, totally fair and square. But Rukmi, he just couldn't handle losing, so he cheated. The story says he used kaitivam, which is basically a fancy word for trickery. He just lied and yelled out, "Nope, I won."
So now everyone's yelling and arguing. Who really won? It's getting pretty messy. But just when you think a fight is about to break out, something completely magical happens. The truth is about to be revealed from the sky itself. All of a sudden, boom, this huge, powerful voice echoes through the entire party. But there's no person there. The word for this in Sanskrit is a Nabaha Vani. And this sky voice announces to everybody that yes, Lord Balarama was the true winner. And the voice from the sky specifically said that Rukmi's claim was Mrisha. Let's try that one, Mrisha. It means a lie. Can you even imagine The sky itself just called you a liar in front of everyone.
Now, you'd think if a voice from the sky calls you out, you'd probably just give up, right? Say, my bad. Nope, not Rukmi. Pushed on by those other mean kings and just blinded by his own pride, Rukmi does something he can never, ever take back.
He looks right at Balarama and says the absolute worst thing he can think of. He calls him and his family Gopalas, cowherds, and says, "You guys just wander around in the forest. Dice is a game for kings, not for you." He was basically saying Balarama was a nobody, and that was a massive, terrible insult.
And that was it. That was the last straw. All the cheating, the insults, the laughing. It was like shaking up a soda can, and Balarama's famous patience had just exploded.
The story says Balarama became Kruddha. And that's not just mad. That is a burning, fiery, unstoppable rage. It says his eyes, which were already kinda reddish, started to literally glow with fury. That's how angry he was.
And in that moment of pure rage, he reached for his personal weapon, a giant, heavy club called a parigam, and he lifted that huge club high over his head.
And right there, in the middle of the wedding party, with everyone watching in shock, he brought the club down and struck Rukmi, ending their feud right then and there.
The whole place just erupted into chaos. Balarama wasn't finished. He turned to that king who had laughed at him and punched his teeth out. The other troublemaking kings, they ran away as fast as they could. And Krishna, he just stood there completely silent. What could he do? He was stuck between his brother, Balarama, and his wife, Rukmini. And just like that, the wedding was over. Everyone just packed up and went home.
So that leaves us with one last really tricky question. On the one hand, Balarama stood up for himself and his family against a cheater and a bully. But on the other hand, his anger completely ruined a wedding and tore a family apart. So what do you think? Was he right? It kind of shows that sometimes there are no easy answers, right? Thanks for joining me for this amazing and wild story.